In the heart of the land called Umudu, where red clay paths curled through thick forests and the air often smelled of roasted maize and damp earth, stood a village cradled by ancient whispers and forgotten truths. Birds sang like spirits in the trees, and the wind carried voices from long ago. The villagers lived simple lives, farming, storytelling, and worshipping the river that flowed through the land like a sacred thread. There was a girl named Abigail who found herself drawn to a man she did not even know, but always felt restless to be with him anytime she came across him. And she always met him at the stream. The stream was called Nori, and it was no ordinary water. It was believed that anyone who bathed in it when sick would return healed. The villagers said the river had a soul and that it chose who would be healed and who would be taken. But to Abigail, the stream meant something entirely different. It meant him. Every morning, just as the first cock crowed, Abigail would carry a wide clay pot on her head and walk barefoot through the narrow bush path that led to Nuori. Her thick dark braids were neatly tied with cowries and red threads. Her skin glistened like polished bronze under the sunrise, and her clothes were always clean, her wrapper tightly knotted at the waist, her blouse trimmed with gold thread, her feet adorned with simple beads that whispered with each step. And every morning she saw him. He always stood at the far end of the stream, just before the water disappeared into the dense trees. His back straight, arms crossed, his eyes never on her. He was tall and powerfully built, with a strange quietness around him that made the birds hush when he walked past. His clothes were not like those of her people. He wore plain brown trousers and a linen shirt tied with a leather cord, and his hair, thick and shoulder length, was always braided like that of a warrior from a different time. He never spoke, not even when Abigail greeted him kindly, not even when she brought fruits or sang songs she remembered from her grandmother's tales. Still, her heart beat faster each time she saw him. She didn't know his name. She did not know where he came from, but her soul reached for him like a dry leaf reaching for rain. At night, Abigail could not sleep. She lay on her mat beneath the thatched roof, eyes open, heart racing. She tried to tell herself she was being foolish, that he was a stranger, that she knew nothing about him. But no matter how many times she told herself to forget, the feeling returned, stronger than before. One morning, she wore her favorite wrapper, the one with yellow and green sun patterns, and slipped on the copper anklet her late grandmother had given her. She had woven a small basket of sweet papaw slices and ripe cashew fruits. Her fingers trembled as she walked. When she reached the stream, he was there, as always, kneeling, scooping water with his palms. She stepped closer, her heart hammering. "Please, what is your name?" she asked. He froze. He looked at her for a brief moment, those gray, unreadable eyes. And then, without a word, he stood up and walked away into the forest. Abigail stood still. Then she sat at the edge of the stream, clutching the basket as tears spilled silently down her cheeks. The next day, she returned. And the day after that. And the next. Each time she came with something new. A song, a flower, a smile. Each time, he turned away. But still, she returned. Her heart, stubborn and soft, refused to give up. She didn't know why, but she believed deep in her chest that there was more to him than silence. And even though he rejected her again and again, she felt he was listening, even if he pretended not to. What Abigail did not know was that the man she longed for was no ordinary man. He was named Ajanwu, a being from the forbidden kingdom of Ulori, a hidden place beyond the hills and trees where creatures who shifted under the moon still lived. He was a werewolf. Not the cursed, mindless kind, but a guardian spirit, part man, part wolf, bound by ancient law to never love a human. In the werewolf kingdom of Ulori, the drums had gone silent. The air carried the scent of ancestral smoke and sacred oils. The old king, Ajanwu's father, had returned to the earth beneath the baobab tree, and the moon had already begun choosing the next ruler. As the first son of the bloodline, Ajanwu was destined to wear the golden moon crown, but tradition demanded he first take a bride. The High Council, made of white-haired elders and cloaked seers, had already offered him many maidens from their kind. Each time, they sang the ancient rites. Each time, he said no. "She is too proud," he'd say of one. "She lacks grace," he'd dismiss another. One had hair like flowing silk and eyes like stars. Still, he refused. Another had been trained by priestesses, skilled in healing and in moon chants. But Ajanwu simply turned his face. Ajanwu walked through the stone corridors of the royal palace barefoot, wearing his simple dark blue robe stitched with golden moons. His hair was braided tightly and tied with a leather thong, and a silver wolf-tooth amulet swung gently from his neck, a sign of royal blood. He could hear the whispers of the guards and servants as he passed. "The prince grows weaker by the moon. He must marry before the crowning ceremony." But Ajanwu's mind was far from the throne. He still remembered the human girl. The way Abigail's voice quivered when she asked for his name. The way her tears clung to her lashes like dew. He had felt something break inside him that day, and yet he could not respond. To love a human was a crime. To bring shame upon the moon crown was worse. Days passed. He tried to stay away. He stopped going to the stream, hoping that distance would silence the beating of his heart. But even with time and space, her face lingered, etched in his mind like a scar that refused to fade. He thought avoiding the stream would help him forget her. He thought that if he stayed away long enough, the feelings might die. But they didn't. Each day without her became heavier. And on the fourth morning, without thinking, he found his feet returning to the river. And just like always, Abigail was there. She sat on the edge of the water, searching the trees like someone who had lost something precious. The moment she spotted him, she ran straight into his arms like she had been holding her breath for days. "You're here," she said breathlessly. "I came here yesterday and the day before that, but I couldn't find you." He looked at her, emotion flickering behind his gaze. "What do you want from me?" he asked. "Your love," Abigail replied, her voice steady. "I want your love." "Stay away from me," he warned, stepping back. "I am not who you think I am. My existence is beyond your imagination." And with that, he turned to walk away. But this time, Abigail did not let him. She reached out and stopped him before he could leave. "I am ready to prove my love for you. I am ready to prove how much I love you and how much I want to be with you, if only you could give me a chance." "Go home," he replied coldly, before walking away.